and taking his bike.
They got a lot of stuff to say about the car. They know what's coming.
Everybody behind me is a big block.
He might be on a one-way trip out of there.
Big old wheel stand. That Pontiac taking the win light.
So first round of the Super Street Shootout, a bunch of great cars. Jennifer Martin, David Heumann, Travis Reed, Chris Lackner, Mike Murata, Daniel Smith, Cameron Foster, and Mike Martin will make up the round. Super Street Shootout coming up here, trying to earn a spot for the top 10, and we started off with a pair of Chevrolet Corvettes. David Heumann out of Midlothian, Travis Reed. The red vet here on the Pertex side out of Henrico, Virginia. Reed moving first here on the Pertec lane. Does he have enough to hold off Heumann over there on the George Mason side as they head out to the quarter-mile straight? Win light's going to go. David Heumann running down Travis Reed and taking the win light. Chris Lackner bringing up the Farmer Machine Caddy CTSV, taking on Mike Murata here. The LS Swap Mazda RX-7. Mazda bumping in. He's away before Chris is over there on the George Mason side. As they head out to the top end, this is one of the best battles in the first round of the shootout. But Mike marches through 10.06 to a 10.12, and Mike Murata moving on. Cameron Foster, part of the Get Fast 1 team, taking on Daniel Smith out of Gloucester, Virginia, the Ford F-150 pickup. Cameron moving with the better reaction time to the instant green start, but heading out to the quarter-mile stripe. Looks like the F-150 running him down on the top end. And Daniel Smith moving to the next round of the shootout for Super Street. And our final pair, it's a husband and wife matchup. Here's Michael Martin on the Pertex side, the SS Camaro, taking on Jen Martin over there, George Mason lane, the Shark Bait. The six-banger Shark Bait driving away from her husband. Jen Martin making a first-round win out of Gloucester. Representing for the Martin family, heading off to round number 2 of the Super Street Shootout. So after first round, it leaves just 4 competitors: Jennifer Martin, David Heumann, Mike Murata, Daniel Smith, coming back for the semifinals of the Super Street. We move into the first session of call-outs, and this one's for the number 9 spot. On the Super Street list, John Hampton's Farmer Machine Caddy CTSV, taking on the newcomer to the field, Chris James, Ford Mustang. James over on the George Mason side, the Caddy for Hampton, a 4-door on the Pertec lane, and James drills him off the starting line. James trying to move up the Get Fast 1 RVA list, but guess what? John Hampton says, not today, boy. Taking the win light, 10.25 on the Pertec lane. Here's Louis Demetrizen coming up, taking on Joey Buck. Buck's number 5 on the list, Louis number 7, and Max Sangfield is not on the property. So this is a challenge for the number 5 spot on the Get Fast 1 RVA list. The Mustang and the Chevy Camaro. Joey leaving first, trying to hold on to his number 5 spot. And friends, he looks pretty safe here on the Pertex side of the racetrack. The Hampton-based entry goes 1040, 131 miles an hour, and stays number 5. Here's Jason Blankenship challenging Patrick Depew for the number 3 spot on the Super Street list. Depew here in the Camaro. Blankenship over there on the George Mason side brings up the backdraft Pontiac. Staging up. Look at that wheels up launch for Jason Blankenship over on the George Mason side, and backdraft thunders up the list, heading to the number 3 spot. A beautiful 936 at 135 miles an hour. The Ultimate Street round number 1, huge field of cars with Blake Canaday, John Mankia, Tracy Eubank, Mark Coonley, Alan Grant, William Glenn, Wayne Jeter, Charlie Robertson, Tim Bauer, Patrick Watson, Marky Gilbert making up the list. The Ultimate Street Shootout coming up here. John Mankia out of Mechanicsville, The Chevrolet Camaro lining up with the Eubank team out of Chester in the Ford Mustang. Tracy Eubank's Mustang marching off on the Pertec side, the 8th mile Pro Tree start, and moving to round number 2 of the Ultimate Street Shootout. The Grant team bringing up the red Pontiac over there on the George Mason side. That's Alex Grant behind the wheel and Mark Coonley, the Pro Charge Chevy Camaro here on the Pertec lane. Coonley been running a bunch of these shootouts, and in the first round he knocks out Grant. Coonley's Camaro moving to round number 2. Here's Charlie Robertson, one of the original members of the Get Fast 1 RVA list. The Pontiac taking on Wayne Jeter out of Tappahannock in the Chevy Camaro. Moving off the line right together, but Charlie marches out on the top end and takes the win light. His Williamsburg-based entry moving to round number 2. Tim Bauer out of Seaford taking on Blake Canada. Blake brings up the T-Bird, and Blake moving with a huge hole shot off the starting line. Taking the win light, Blake Canada going to round number 2. Your final pair here in round number 1 going to be William Glenn from Deltaville. Looks like he's broke his big bad pickup. And Marky Gilbert going to take a competition single down the Pertec side. His Richmond-based Chevy Nova going to round number 2 of the shootout. Meanwhile, the guys clean up behind Glenn. Here's Patrick Watts, the Riggs Tire and Auto entry out of Mechanicsville, a huge wheel stand and a freebie to round number 2. Round 1's complete, and it leaves Blake Canada, Tracy Eubank, Mark Coonley, Charlie Robertson, Patrick Watts, and Marky Gilbert coming back for round 2. Your first session of call-outs here. And this first call-out's for the number 6 spot on the Get Fast 1 RVA list. It is Ben Chick, the Mustang out of Mechanicsville, taking on Pete Decker in the Chevrolet Camaro. Decker over on the George Mason Mortgage side, Chick here on the Pertec lane. Chick drilling the starting line, getting a huge advantage off the line and marching out to the top end. Ben Chick's Mustang on a rail and moving up to the number 6 spot on the Get Fast 1 list. Mike Ratliff and Charles Forrest for the number 4 spot. Forrest coming up here. Boostzilla, the Chevy Camaro, taking on the mean Ford Falcon out of Colonial Heights for Mike Ratliff over on the George Mason Mortgage side. Ford and Chevy battle. Lining up here, round number 1 of call-outs for the Ultimate Street list on the Get Fast 1 RVA Friday here at Richmond Dragway. Ratliff moving first, Boostzilla right into trouble off the starting line, and Mike Ratliff says number 4 is mine, holding on to the position. Look at that top end charge for Boostzilla. So we move into Super Street round number 2 with 4 cars: Jennifer Martin, David Heumann, Mike Murata, and Daniel Smith. So Mike Miranda coming up in round number 2 of the shootout for the Super Street. David Heuman's Corvette. David moving first. Mike making up the difference almost by the 60-foot timer. The little LS swapped Mazda moves on to round number final of the Super Street Shootout. That's right, Mike Miranda coming up in the finals. Here's Jen Martin taking on the Smith pickup over there. A couple of Gloucester entries. Daniel launches off, but Jen making up the difference quick, and Sharkbait going to the final round of the Super Street Shootout where she'll face Mike Miranda. Heading out to your final round, it'll be Jennifer Martin and Mike Murata challenging for the Super Street right to race number 10. Here we go, some more call-outs here. John Hampton coming up. The Cadillac. Taking on Louis Demetriusen over there. This is a battle for the number 6 spot. Lewis moving first off of the starting line. The caddy got his work cut out for him as they head out to the top end. They'll be side by side at the stripe, and Lewis takes the position on a hole shot win. A call out for number 1. Adam Dean calling out Gerald Driver here. Jimmy B and Gerald Driver bringing up to Fairmont, and Adam Dean in the Pontiac. Dean number 2, Driver number 1. This is for the top spot on the Super Street list Friday night here at the Get Fast 1 RVA list Friday at Richmond Dragway. This is what you've come to see, a run for number 1. Jimmy moving first. Adam Dean hustles around, and your new number 1 on the Super Street list. How about Adam Dean over there? Dean runs a 9:49 at 143 miles an hour, and he is number 1. Coming up in Ultimate Street round number 2, Blake Canada, Tracy Eubank, Mark Coonley, Charlie Robertson, Patrick Watson, Marky Gilbert all coming in. Marky Gilbert and Charlie Robertson for the Ultimate Street Shootout. Gilbert in the Nova. Charlie bringing up the Pontiac. The Pontiac thundering off that Thornton Motorsports starting line. Charlie Robertson going to round number 3. Here's Patrick Watson, Mark Coonley. Watts bringing up the entry on the George Mason side. Had a huge wheel stand earlier. Tames it down, trying to take out Coonley, but that ain't going to happen. The Camaro muscles down the Pertec side and goes to the semis. Here's Blake Canada coming up against the Eubank Team Mustang. Ford T-Bird, Ford Mustang. The T-Bird away first, the Mustang with a wheels-up launch. This is a great run to the stripe. Blake Canada going to the semifinals of the Ultimate Street Shootout. 3 competitors left after that second round of racing, with Blake Canada, Mark Coonley, and Charlie Robertson coming back for your semifinals. Call-outs for session number 2. Charles Forrest Boostzilla going to try to hold on to the number 5 spot. The challenger here, Ben Chick, the nitrous-fed Mustang. Chick coming up on the Pertec side. Boostzilla over there on the George Mason lane. Chevy and Ford battle. Red Rum trying to thunder up the Get Fast 1 Ultimate Street list. And this time, he'll knock out the number 5 runner. Ben Chick goes to number 5. Boostzilla slipping to number 6. Chuck Otter's coming up here, taking on Pete Decker. 804 Chuck on the Pertec lane. Decker coming up on the George Mason side. A couple of Chevy Camaros. A race for the number 7 spot on the Ultimate Street list. Both drivers staging up. Chuck Otter's moving first. Pete Decker trying to run him down. That wheels up start. Chasing down the Camaro on the Pertec side. It ain't going to happen. 804 Chuck goes number 7.
I'll tell you, we're getting ready for the next session of the Get Fast 1 RVA list here. It was an eventful week in the RVA.
Coming up for the finals of the Super Street Shootout, we've got Mike Miranda in the right lane versus Jennifer Martin and Shark Bait in the left lane. Quarter-mile action time shown. We got a Pro-Charged V6 Camaro versus a Turbo LS RX-7. Should be a good one.
It's your Super Street finals for the shootout as Mike Murata and Jennifer Martin make their way. Here's your finals of the Super Street Shootout. The right to challenge for the number 10 spot, Mike Murata, bringing up the Mazda. He has been in this position a couple of times so far this season, and this time up he takes on Jen Martin. The 6-banger Shark Bait out of Gloucester taking on Murata's Mazda out of Disputana. And this is the right to challenge for the 10 spot on this Super Street list. Jen nailing the tree, having a great starting line advantage, but Mike makes up the difference before the 330 cone and top end. Mike Murata is the challenger to the Super Street list. Call out here. Chris Jones and John Hampton. This will be a call out for the number 7 spot. Hampton currently sits there. Chris trying to get off of the bubble, trying to get off of being number 10. Hampton, the Farmer Machine caddy, taking on Jones over there, the Ford Mustang, and Jones drilling the tree. Does he have enough to hold off the hard-charging caddy? Friends, it looks like it. We might have a new number 7. We do not. Hampton sneaking around at the stripe and holds on to his number 7 position. And a battle for the number 1 spot. Adam Dean, he just took the number 1 spot in the last session, and right now he's got Gerald Driver knocking on the door saying, I want my spot back, boy. Driver with Jimmy B, the Ford Fairmont over there, lining up on the Pertex side of the racetrack. Adam Dean on the George Mason lane. The instant green start coming up. And this time, Gerald Driver's ready for the go. The Fairmont makes it look easy. Now on the Pertex side of the racetrack, it said number 1 is mine for this week. 9:35 at 132 miles an hour. Louis Demetrius and Joey Buck coming up. A battle for the number 5 position on the Super Street list. Joey here on the Pertex side, Louis over there on the George Mason lane. They'd like to be on the top half. Joey trying to make his way to stay there. Louis trying to make his way to knock Joey out. They get the signal to take the tree. They'll pull up to the starting line. Ford and Chevy battle will ensue. Louis leaving before the tree's activated. So Joey Buck hangs on to number 5 with no problem here. Joey cruises down the Pertex side of the racetrack. Takes his number 5 position at a 10:34, 131 miles an hour. The shootout for the Ultimate Street. This is the semifinals. One of these drivers coming back to take on Mark Coonley in the finals. Will it be Charlie Robertson or Blake Canada? Blake into T-Bird over on the George Mason side. Charlie comes up on the Pertec lane, the Pontiac Firebird. Both drivers taking their time staging. Canada starts to bump in. Robertson follows for an instant green start. A chase to the 8th mile timers. The semifinals of the Ultimate Street Shootout. Charlie moving first. Blake got to run him down. Can the Ford do it? Out to the top end. Absolutely no problem. Blake Canada going to the final round. Well, he'll face Mark Coonley for the right to challenge for the number 10 spot on the Ultimate Street list. And here is Coonley. Going to take his bye run to the final round. So we'll have a Ford and Chevy battle in the final. The Chevy Camaro and the Ford T-Bird. Coonley going to be tuning on that thing prior to his final round. Striking the hides there. Coasting out. The matchup will be for the right to race for the number 10 spot. Call out here, then Chick trying to move up the list past Mike Ratliff. Chick urging the nitrous on his Mustang on the Pertex side. Mike Ratliff, the cool Falcon out of Colonial Heights on the George Mason lane. Ratliff been a mainstay on this Get Fast 1 list. And Ben Chick's been thundering up it since he got on at the 10 spot just a month ago. Race for the number 4 position. The Mustang and the Ford Falcon here. Falcon leaving right with him, but the Mustang has it from start to finish. Top end, Ben Chick thundering down the Pertex side, moving up to the number 4 position on the Ultimate Street list. Boostzilla shaking down here. He's your number 6 racer. On the Ultimate Street list, lighting up the tires. Chuck Otters comes to challenge. Otters currently number 7. Boostzilla number 6. This is a race for the 6th position. They leave right together. Boostzilla right into problems. And 804 Chuck takes out another one. Chuck Otters goes number 6 in his assault to the top of the Ultimate Street list. Here is a race for the number 8 position. Pete Decker coming up, taking on Chad Glenn. Glenn, new to the list, this time out and trying to get off that number 10 spot. Pete Decker's currently number 8. Decker's Camaro leaving hard, and Decker says, you're going to have to stay below me, boy. Chevy Camaro holds on to number 8. Chad Glenn will retain his 9th position. Final session of call-outs, final session of challenges coming up here. Here is Gerald Driver, Jimmy B, Jason Blankenship. The Backdraft Pontiac challenging for the number 1 position. Backdraft thunders off the starting line with a red light start, throwing it away. Jimmy B streaks away and says number 1 remains mine, at least for the next month. Your finals of the Ultimate Street Shootout. Mark Coonley coming up. Coonley lining up over there on the George Mason side of the racetrack. He's going to take on Blake Canada. Blake here on the Pertec lane in the T-Bird. Both of them staging up. Coonley rolls through the beams, gives the automatic win light to Blake Canada. Canada will take the win. The guy's telling him, it's yours, my man. Your right to challenge for the number 10 spot goes Blake Canada's way as Mark Coonley rolling through the beams. So kind of an anticlimactic finish to what's been a great Ultimate Street Shootout. And Blake Canada with the right to go after the number 10 spot currently held by the tow truck. Ben Chick, Red Rum the Mustang, taking on Cotton, Richard Tillman. Tillman, your current number 1. Cotton over there on the George Mason side of the racetrack. He's laid down some stellar passes shaking down tonight. And right now he's got to hold off one of the hardest charging cars on the list, Ben Chick in Red Rum. Tillman with a huge starting line advantage. Here comes the Mustang, but it's Tillman holding on to number 1. Position challenge for Chuck Otters, going to try to move up to number 5. Mike Ratliff currently holds it in the Ford Falcon. 804 Chuck coming up on the Pertec lane, trying to continue his climb up the Get Fast 1 Ultimate Street list. The runs start winding down here on Friday night, and this is going to be a dandy right here. Ford and Chevy battle as Chuck Otters launching first. 804 Chuck streak away on the Pertec side, and he goes number 5. So what a huge night of drag racing action you've just watched here as part of the Get Fast 1 RVA list. You watch Mike Murata take his way all the way to the point of challenging for the number 10 spot on the Super Street side. And on the Super Street list, the number 1 position juggled back and forth, but Jimmy B and Gerald Driver hold on. And then on the Ultimate Street side, look out next time is the tow truck going to have to defend the number 10 position against the shootout winner Blake Canada. And how about your number 1 Richard Tillman holding off the hard-charging Red Rum Mustang of Ben Chick. It's been a great night of drag racing here at Richmond Dragway for the Get Fast 1 RVA list. Don't miss a second of the action. Check us out at richmonddragway.com, thervalist.com, or on YouTube, log on and see the Get Fast 1 RVA list.
How did we do tonight?
I started the night off in the 9th spot and ended up at number 5. My first call out was the tow truck, but he had some mishaps last race and couldn't make it, so I got the number 8 spot. From that point on, I called out Decker, raced Decker, won that race. Then I had Uzilla again, squeaked by him, but I'm sure he was having troubles and whatnot. Then I had to run Ratliff for the 5 spot. That's why I'm number 5.
Number 5, Chuck.
Number 5, Chuck.
Keep your eye on Chuck, man. We don't know where he's going to go, but he keeps getting faster.
Get a bone. Get a bone. Get a boy.
Actually heard about the list from, came to the track one day last year, and it was during a regular test and tune day, and all of a sudden the RVA list pops up, and kind of sitting there trying to figure out what's going on, and heard about it from there. And so I said, well, let's go ahead and get the car together. Let's try this out. I have a 86 Ford Thunderbird. I've heard from a lot of people it is very different, very unique, and I will honestly agree with them because you don't see that car anymore. Got a big block Ford, 460, pump gas, street car. So Brandon, we got our race coming up for the number 10 spot. You know, I just wanted to tell you, good luck as far as the intimidation thing. I'm not going to even try to intimidate you just because I'm looking forward to a good race, and good luck to you, and I'll see you at the track. Good to go. All right, guys, appreciate it.
Hey, who made my door slower? Come on. Oh, has that got a big block? Look at that. Is that air? That is so cute. Look. Call that a wheelie? That's a wheelie.